So you want a girlfriend? Well, guess what? I've had 8. It's scarily close to double digits, and that's why I stopped. But you know how much knowledge I'm carrying that's just a waste in this old brain of mine? The answer's a lot, so today I'm going to give you all of my secrets, tips, tricks, all the whole bag of shenanigans. We're also going to angle the camera down just a bit, so that way there's not too much headroom. Alrighty. Most people would fill out this portion of the video by telling you who they are and that you should subscribe, but I'm not going to do that. Although you should subscribe because I'm trying to beat my friend who got the 90,000 once, so yeah, just hit the button. Anyways, real quick though, if you're dating me in the future, or you want to date me, or you've got a sister or a mom that I might want to date, that was a joke. Please stop watching this video because chances are I'm going to use all these tricks on you. If not, and you're just some random stranger on the internet, welcome to my secret cave of wonders. That doesn't sound right. My list of life hacks. Nope, life hacks is probably the stupidest thing in the world. These are not that. This is just a little bit of an edge to get you ahead of all the other guys. Tip number 1, the first date. I made some examples of where you definitely shouldn't go for a first date in the last video, but this video I'm going to tell you what you should do. And that is find any place in the world just to talk to them. Talking forms a connection, yada yada yada. The point of a first date is to see that you're compatible with a person, and you need to do this by talking to them. Walk around a little bit, maybe get some Wetzel's pretzels or some ice cream or something friendly, not a whole dinner, that's too much to commit to, and you probably throw up anyways afterwards. There's some Chuck E. Cheese, either way, just make sure they have a fun time. So that way they can remember it and tell their friends, hey, guess who bought me a pretzel this weekend? Because obviously the number one thing they're gonna do is go home immediately and tell every single one of their friends about the date. No pressure. If you're on the 5th date or above, a really good place is Build-A-Bear. That's not a joke. It may sound a little kiddish, but getting her a bear to remember you by always, even when you're apart, it's just gonna do wonders. I'm not a joke. Maybe make sure to buy her a souvenir, so that way whenever she looks at it, she remembers who she was with when she got it. And send her home with that. You don't need a hug, you don't need to kiss, anything. Another great thing you could do if you're in a mall or shopping center is go find a quiet bench, maybe under a tree or a water fountain, and just sit. Not a water fountain. Make sure it's a little quieter, so that way you can actually talk instead of just having 20,000 rains interrupting any chance of conversation. Either way, sitting next to each other gives them a great opportunity to scoot in closer to you and maybe go in for a cuddle session or something. For a first date, maybe it's a little too fast for them, but hey, it's just the opportunity is always there. And make sure that you don't do anything without them giving at least a few signs that they want to. Signs include them being touchy, them being cutesy. I don't know. Don't assume anything, but also don't assume not to assume anything. I know it's confusing, but so is everybody else's hormone-filled brain, okay? So just... Other amazing dates include movies after you've had your first kiss, so that way you can just make out the whole time in the back of the theater, or something fun and stupid. Another tip that I use a lot is to take them somewhere that's fun and stupid, i.e. go-kart racing, mini golf, or something that's kind of for kids a little younger. You'll still have fun, specifically because the entire point is getting them to remember you, especially if they're way out of your league. It sounds like a risk, but honestly, there's a lot of payoff. Or if you're not into that, mature date ideas could include aquariums. That's a really big one, especially when the lights go out and you're just with the little glowy jellyfish. This is a really romantic time. Also, Build-A-Bear, but maybe don't go there until the 5th or maybe the double-digit dates if you get that far. If not, then they were a terrible person and you deserve better, or you just have a few things to learn. First kiss. This is important. A lot of guys and girls go in for a first kiss like this, and it makes a really dumb, stupid face, especially if they dodge you, because then your eyes are closed, you're just left hanging there making the stupid puckerfish face, and then she either dodges or backs her head away and says, ew, that's terrible. I'm gonna leave a bad taste in both your mouths for probably ever. The number one strategy that you need to use is the hook. Sounds a little bad, but hear me out. Instead of going in for a first kiss like this, if they've already shown signs that they just maybe want to kiss, then you could do this instead. The hook goes up to their chin and pulls them in. That way they still have time to get their head out of the way or back away without you having to lean in and make the stupid puckerfish face. Puckerfish bad. So remember, the hook, the chin, just slightly pull them in. Don't tug them in like this and maybe choke them or something, because that's... Just slightly pull them in, and if they dodge, then there's no weirdness. You can just move on with the date, and they won't tell the story of that one person that tried leaning in and completely just made a fucking fool of themselves. Moving on, this segment is called If They're Mad at You, or if you just want to make a romantic gift to them. But mostly if they're mad at you. The if they're mad at you gifts is where I tend to shine because it's the position I've found myself in a lot. The number one thing that you can do is get them a gift. And it doesn't have to be some really expensive chain bracelet that's made out of pure diamonds or anything. Just don't spend money to show them that you care about them, because then that'll be the standard and your wallet will be empty after no time. No, instead do something that's sweet. The number one thing I like to use is the jar. I actually stole this from somebody a while back. Actually, most of these tips I stole from other people, but it's fine. But I've used them so much they're basically mine now. That was a joke, mostly. No, anyways. Get a tiny little baby glass jar. Doesn't have to be big at all. Literally just this size. Or a box or a present or something, and you tie a ribbon on it and it'll be perfect. The next thing you want to do is get a bunch of little slips of paper. Or just take printer paper and cut it up into a bunch of squares. On these squares, write a bunch of compliments. Things that only pertain to her and that make her feel special to you. Honestly, if you can't think of anything, then just Google it. That's what I did after a while. Cut the little slips of paper up and compliment her. The number one thing for a guy to compliment a girl on is her eyes. That shows that you're not looking anywhere you're not supposed to, and they're just sweet to compliment. Sometimes girls can compliment guys' eyes too. A lot of people have told me I've got very pretty eyes. But most of the time, if you're a girl complimenting a guy, or a guy complimenting a guy, I don't know, then you can compliment the way he hugs, or the way he holds you, or she holds you. You could do that with a girl, but just, you know your partner better than I do, okay? Complimenting eyes. Perfect compliments for eyes, mostly comparing them to minerals. Shining diamond blue eyes. Shining emerald green eyes. I can't think of one for brown. Hold on. Maybe oaky. No. Just think of something that's beautiful and brown, okay? If she's got blonde hair, it shimmers bright like the sun. Simple. If you can't think of one for her eye color, then just say her eyes shine like a pond or something. Unless their eyes are green. That's a bad idea, because then it's like murky green pond water. Next tip, pet names or nicknames or anything. You can get started on this even before you start dating them. Just make sure you don't force it. See, a big part of relationships is inside jokes. You may not have any, and that's fine. But I'm sure there's still a little quirk one of you has. If you can't think of a good one, don't use bae. If you can't think of a good one, then I've got a few for you to try, but just don't use bae. For example, if they drop a pencil, call them pencil dropper. No, don't do that. For example, if she wears a polka dot skirt one day, then just call her Spotty. Obviously, that was really vague, and that might be awkward, but you get what I'm saying, right? If they do anything, at least slightly noteworthy, you can make a joke about it, or a quip, or a pet name. Be careful with joking too hard. There are a lot of people that are self-conscious, and you might, And also, don't make the pet name something negative about their body, okay? Don't call them big ears or dopey or something. I made that mistake once. If you genuinely can't think of one, then I've got a few that you could use, but definitely don't use bae. Listen to me, don't use bae. If you genuinely can't think of one, then let me help you cheat. The one that I use the most is snowflake, because they're special and unique and nobody in the world can match them, even though that is almost entirely false. Everyone in the world is like somebody else. There is literally no such thing as originality, except for you. Keep that mindset. Or you could just use a sweet name. Popular ones include sugar cane, sugar plum, cupcake, cream puff. Be careful with that one. Hershey bar, Wetzel's pretzel, I don't know. Don't use the last two. Next, this one's a little shorter, but it's very important. Food. Food is the way to a person's heart. Seriously, I can't tell you how many times I went to McDonald's or something, or taken them to a restaurant and say, hey, can I get a cookie? And then I turn around and give it to them, then they just instantly fall for me. Although that also could be because of my charming good looks. And I know that sounds really stupid, but I'm being serious. Food, simple food, sweets, is the way to a person's heart. And the final tip for any relationship in the world to keep you 100% on track, compliment them. Hear me out, there's a specific way you're supposed to do this. This does not mean be dishonest, okay? You can't compliment them on something just because you have to that day. You cannot compliment them every single day on a different shirt they wear. No, my motto is be sparing, but also be caring. You can compliment their shirt, but make sure it's detailed. I like the embroidery on that. I like the symbols. I like the yellow triangle Angry Bird on your t-shirt. Or you can compliment them the way their hair or their makeup is done, or the way that their shoes look. Or compliment their eyes, which I've said 100 times. But again, this is literally a goldmine. But be careful, okay? Chances are, whatever you compliment them on, they're gonna wear that thing that way for a long time. So only compliment a shirt if you genuinely like it, or their hair if you genuinely like it. Again, don't compliment just to compliment, because that's bad, and a lot of people see right through that, unless they're dumb. Also, don't be a creep. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Don't be a creep. Don't compliment them on skimpy clothing just because you like the way that they look in that skimpy clothing. But genuinely, you'll probably score more points a lot of the time if you compliment them on something that's a little more thicker. For me, I usually compliment their sweaters, but that's just me. I like the way that a girl looks in a thick, hot Christmas sweater. And a scarf. It's just adorable. Anyways, well, that's it for me. I'll be here all week, all month, all year, whatever. Then hey, if you like this, if you learned anything, or maybe I helped you in a relationship or future relationship, then hit the button. Subscribe. Just why not? I give a lot of helpful information. Most of the time I try to do it while being funny, so just hit the button. Also, yesterday I uploaded a video on exactly what you should never do on a first date, so just check that out. Again, I'm trying to beat my friend who's got 90,000 subscribers. Come on level with me. You've wanted to beat someone before once, right? And to prove that you're just a little bit better than them. I know it's not a good motive, but it's my motive, so just if you like it, hit the button. But thanks for watching. That's it for me. I'm gonna go play some.